Alright, welcome to the next week of poetry vlogging. It's actually Tuesday. I didn't vlog at all yesterday. I didn't really read that much either. I did read a little, but then I watched like the last 3 episodes of Top Chef that I had. And so that's what I spent the night doing. I watched Top Chef and kind of freaked out. I watched the most recent season, and I have gone through over the past couple of years, and I think I've seen every season of Top Chef available online. The past year, I've basically only been watching cooking shows with like a couple of exceptions. Like I watched Feel Good like 6 times, and I watched a couple of movies, but Top Chef is just top tier. But I have never been so attached to one of the people, like really rooting for them. And there are some people who like I thought were really good chefs, but this person was a really good chef and was also extremely gay and hot. So like, what's not to love? What is not to love? So this is the first person that I've seen on the show and then followed on all of their social medias, and then managed to just fall even more in love with her. If you watch season 17 of Top Chef, you'll know Melissa King is top tier. She literally made a tiramisu that was so good it made someone cry. That's enough right there. Anyways, that has nothing to do with poetry. Last night was that. And this morning I did read some. It wasn't poetry, but I've almost finished the chapter of Captive Genders that I need to finish before Friday. I only have one more reading. And this is probably the hardest chapter so far. It's talking about trans people in prisons and how they're treated and stuff like that. And it's just really fucked up, and it's not helping at all with my feeling of dread and hopelessness around the way that government and society functions. So that's fun. Not fun. I did write yesterday a very short poem. Not really sure if it's any good, but I'll share it because I wrote it. It's about, I guess, executive dysfunction. My legs stuck in the sledge of my brain. I can move sideways, not forward or back. No momentum for what matters. Stuck in a cycle, empty shuffling. Only sticking at random. Never a necessary task, even the smallest, laced with lead. That's about how well all my work shit has been going. This work from home stuff does not work very well when your brain does not work very well. I did get to read a little bit of Moon of the Crusted Snow yesterday, and that's been pretty good so far. It's a lot of setup. I haven't really gotten into the bulk of it yet. But that's not poetry. But that's fine. So yeah, that's today so far. I'm going to work here in a little bit, and we'll hopefully do some reading or writing after that. It is Wednesday. I haven't read any poetry, I don't think. I haven't really read much of anything today. This morning I got up, fed my cats. Couldn't do anything but doom scroll, so I went back to sleep until I had to work. Work was okay. Not totally sure what all to say. But I wrote last night, I wrote tonight, so I guess I'll only read like a small piece of both of them, because last night I was writing about like the state of the world, and I'll just read a little bit of it, because honestly, as a whole, it's unintelligible and would need to be edited, and I'm not going to do that, and so here's just a bit. Justice is empty, flowing from the lips of a creature grown and fueled by death. So, that was last night. The stuff that I wrote tonight is less sad. Later on it is actually adjacent to the stuff going on, but I won't get into that piece of it. But the prompt that I ended up using was unintentionally from an old blog, an old Tumblr. The post is from March 22nd, 2019, and it said, "Gay mood of the day. Writing poems she'll probably never read." And the little bit that I'll share of it: "I've long mastered the art of not messaging when I think of you. No more hopeful daydreams that you'll show up at my door. But I never learned to stop the gnawing in my bones, the need to know you have a hand to hold when too much seems too dark in this world." So, not sure any of this is necessarily good, but that's a little bit of what I've been writing. I did download Aphrodite Made Me Do It by Trista Matar. I can't check because I'm filming with my phone. I just downloaded it from Hoopla, so I'll probably read that soon. I know a lot of it's based around like Greek mythology, Aphrodite, and it's partly based around self-care and some other stuff, and I think it's gay. I think the first time I heard of this poetry collection was on Bear's channel, and then recently my coworker said that she really liked it, and then even more recently I saw Cherry actually reads Best Poetry Collections of 2020, and that one was on there as well as one of that author's other poetry collections. So I thought that I should read it, even though I have other collections that I actually own that I should read, and I'm still in the middle of that anthology. But that's fine. So I'll probably work on reading that and or the other shit I'm in the middle of. I don't know if it'll be tonight or tomorrow or what, but I'll check back in, hopefully in a better mood. All things considered, I'm in a better mood than I was in earlier because I was in full despair mode. So hopefully I can spend the rest of the night doing something that's not feeling like I'm losing faith in humanity. So I'll check back in tomorrow. It's... what the fuck day of the week is it? It is Friday night. I definitely did not check in yesterday. I think I checked in the day before, but I don't think it was super coherent. It's been a little bit of a time. I'm not sure if I'm going to include the previous clip. I've got to rewatch it because I was real fucking sad. A little bit hopeless with world events, people dying, feeling like you have no control over anything. The usual. But I have written a little bit. I have skipped a couple of days, but I do have things. This one is happy and gay. This is one that I wrote today, or a piece of one that I wrote today, I suppose. Sappho's lover was a sculptor, and you were the earth her hands breathed life into. Each dimple and freckle made perfect her masterpiece. And that's for every lesbian. This week has been way less productive on the reading and writing and generally living front than the rest of the month has been. But I guess that's fine. I do want to get back to writing every day because I really liked having that going. And I have like some work stuff that's due. I really should have been doing faster, that I would have liked to be doing faster rather. So I'm probably going to be more focused on that this weekend, but I am going to try to write some too. What do you think? Do you have a friend? It is Sunday. It's technically like 3 a.m. Monday morning. But we'll call it Sunday because I haven't gone to sleep yet. It's been a couple days since I've checked in. I don't really know. I have not been writing consistently, but I wrote some today, so that's important. So far as reading goes, I have started Aphrodite Made Me Do It by Trista. I'm reading it on Hoopla, and I don't think it's formatted right on Hoopla because it stops mid-poem and like the pictures are in weird places. I looked at the copy that we have in store and it looks totally different. So I'm thinking about either reading it while I'm at the bookstore or just buying a copy because I really, really like the poems anyways. Kind of wish it was easier to find a used copy, but it's fine. I'll probably just get it with the employee discount and that'll be fine. I just got done doing writing sprints with Julia from the Fuzzy Fairy, and it was really good. We got to chat some and did a couple of writing sprints, and I wrote a few things. I think I will share one of them. There wasn't an exact prompt for this necessarily. I did have the Grief Keeper in front of me that I looked at while trying to find some sort of inspiration. But in general, the poem is more about like group grief or grieving as a community, which is really relevant because of current events. But this poem in particular really takes me back to working with Names for Trans Day of Remembrance, which I've mentioned before. I won't dwell on it too much, but this is the poem. You can't take suffering like a bullet. Shield them from emotion, let it hit you. Breathe life back by letting their pain be the lead in your veins. For how much loss can we fight for if we lose ourselves in it? If each name weighs as much as the sun, how many names does it take to make a black hole in someone? You don't have to relive to remember. Memory is honored by action, retribution, a halt in the replay. Stargaze another day, in spite of the darkness forced upon us. So, that's that. So, I will check back in sometime. It's been at least a day or so since I last checked in. I don't know what time is, but it is the 27th, Tuesday night. Technically Wednesday morning, but that's fine. I didn't write yesterday, but I did write today. I had another good little writing session with Julia, so that was a good time. I ended up writing something. I've been having kind of trouble writing things that are super cohesive, but I think that I wrote enough on this. I didn't really get at the topic that I was wanting to, but I got to something that was at least tangential, and that it felt nice to have out in words. Oh, also my tripod broke. My ring light, I think the light piece still works technically, but I don't know if you can see, that's a fucking hole. It's broken as shit. It's supposed to be like attached to this, but the plastic that was around it just kind of disintegrated. So yeah, that ate shit. So I don't really know what I'm gonna do. I guess I have to order another tripod. Or I could just do what I was doing before and using my tiny tripod on a stack of books. And just have fucking shitty lighting, which is fine, I guess. Lighting is never really that great. But the poem that I wrote. It's not your fault I was told who to love, and not what love felt like. They said the butterflies in my stomach found the wrong flight patterns. So I turned love into a scavenger hunt. Find clues, choose paths. Certainly I did love you once, the way you love a childhood best friend and the rush of being admired. But when you've never seen fireworks, you can't feel the boom in your chest or understand how bright they burn. I thought love was just playing with matches. Scrape, pop, a flame that floats for a moment before fading. But when I felt supernovas collide as she touched my skin, I finally understood why people stared at the sky. I later found myself trying to play with matches, thinking the fireworks would come after, then reasoning that some love is a slow burn. I don't know how to apologize for fireworks I didn't know I set off. I tried desperately to keep the smoldering flame alive, but it's hard when the oxygen is running out. So, that was today. Or something intelligible that came out of all of the stuff that I wrote today. I wrote a fair amount. But as far as reading goes, not finished anything. Worked on Audre Lorde, worked on Moon in the Crusted Snow, still in the middle of both. I went ahead and got Aphrodite. Aphrodite made me do it. So I do plan on rereading it in the proper format and reading the rest of it, reading the whole thing. So that'll happen soon. But there is a 48-hour readathon going on right now. Again, Will Marie at Lesba Reader, always putting together the good readathons. It's a superhero-based readathon because the 28th is Superhero Day. It technically just started because it's like 1 a.m. on the 28th. So I'm gonna participate in that. I'm also gonna read other stuff too, because I want to read Aphrodite Made Me Do It, and I really want to finish Moon of the Crusted Snow because the live show is out. I could watch it at any point. And I'd like to watch it before the month is over so that I can say that I did it. But I'm also going to be reading some superhero comics. I just borrowed and downloaded Nimona on Hoopla. So I'm going to read that. Not sure if I'm going to start reading it tonight because I need to get my sleep schedule flipped back over. I've stayed up until like 4 a.m. the past several nights. And I hate waking up at 11 and still feeling tired. So I'll probably start in the morning. I wonder if I can make myself wake up early. I don't technically have anything to do early. I don't work until the evening. But maybe I can make myself wake up and read some superheroes. Kinden. She's gonna help me read. It's Wednesday night. I haven't read, like, the most today. I didn't actually read it all before work, which is bad because the Readathon is going on, so you'd think I'd read. But, I didn't actually read until after work. But, oh my god. I read Nimona by Noelle Stevenson. I found it on Hoopla, and I'd heard that it was good. I hadn't heard, like, a ton of people talking about it, but one of my coworkers had mentioned it. And it's Noelle Stevenson. I know that they did Lumberjanes and are Molly Ostertag's partner. So I thought that it was going to be good. And when I started it, like, it seemed, like, funny and sweet, but it got deep. And, like, deep in, like, human psyche and how people are hurt, deep in, like, who is actually the hero and who is actually the villain. It also got gay. It was so good. And I definitely sobbed by the end of it. It was so good. And the fact that there's not some sort of follow-up is homophobic. Like, I know that I read it, and I read it on Hoopla, but it's going on a list because I need a copy of it to reread. It was just so good. I don't think that I've had any standalone graphic novels hit me in the face like that this year. I mean, even the manga that I've read, like, Our Dreams at Dusk is really good, but that was a reread. I don't know. That was just incredible. I'm shook, and gotta figure out what to do next. I'm probably gonna write some because I haven't written today yet. But I want to read more for the superhero readathon. I've got Nubia, which is a superhero comic that L.L. McKinney wrote. L.L. McKinney also wrote A Blade So Black, which I didn't love, mostly because of age gap romance, love triangle, and pacing. But the ideas were still really good, and I'm looking forward to see what she does with this format. So I might read that. I might also read or finish reading Aphrodite Made Me Do It. I'm actually probably going to reread the first part of it in the proper format and then finish reading it. I know that Aphrodite isn't technically a superhero, but we talked in the group chat, and it's kind of open to interpretation. The way that this is, like, Aphrodite is, like, an empowering figure, and I forget exactly what they said, but somebody in the group chat said something like, well, gods are people with powers that end up meddling in other people's business. That's the same thing as a superhero, so I might use that as an excuse to finish reading this. I guess we'll see what happens. It's Thursday. Last night I did end up writing. Trying to remember what I wrote. I don't think I wanted to share it. Otherwise, I probably would have filmed this last night. Yeah. But today I finished Aphrodite Made Me Do It. And I really enjoyed it. I really like the way that the collection was framed. Most of it, or a decent chunk of it, was surrounding Aphrodite. So some of that mythology that was really cool. And there were different sections that focused on different things, like love and war. Both of which I think Aphrodite was supposed to be associated with. At least that's what they talk about in the poetry collection. There's a lot about trauma, sexuality, and self-love, or learning to love yourself. This collection had a lot of short poems, but there was still some diversity in, like, the types of poems. For instance, well, first of all, some of the poems were from Aphrodite's perspective, and then some were from the author's perspective. You had some that were kind of like big blocks of text, which I kind of liked some of those. And then there was also a lot of, like, photography and art. And most of it seemed like collages. But I really like that kind of integrated into the collection too. And there are a number of these that really hit. So I really enjoyed the collection. I'm not sure that this collection felt the same or hit with the same intensity as some of the other ones that I've read that were, like, super, super intense. Don't get me wrong, they talk about a lot of intense things. So I really, really enjoyed this. I mean, I bought it halfway through reading it. Obviously, I really liked it, even though it was, like, kind of different than some of the other things that I've read. And I don't really know how to articulate that. But it's really good, and it's definitely something that I'll be going back to. So far as what I'm going to read next, I'm probably going to do the L.L. McKinney comic. I do have a Zoom call planned soon. I'm going to FaceTime a friend. So I'll probably read it after that, and hopefully be able to write as well. I finished Nubia by L.L. McKinney, and it was really good. I didn't really know what to expect necessarily. I haven't read a lot of, like, superhero comics, but it was very good. There was definitely a lot of good discussion about race and racism, and what, you know, the fact that somebody with superpowers in this world would be treated very differently if they were black. So that was really good. I kind of wish there was more, which it just came out this year, I think. So maybe we'll get more. That would be super cool. So far as the rest of the night goes, I might write. I probably should write because I haven't written yet today. That's probably the last superhero book that I'll read because I think 48 hours is 2 days. So I think it's technically over now that it's midnight. So after this, I'll probably write, and then I should focus on either Moon in the Crusted Snow or Sister Outsider. So those are the plans. If I even end up reading tonight, it is past midnight. Alright, it is May 1st. So it's time to close this vlog out. But before I talk too much, I got some book mail, and I'm genuinely not sure what this is. I know that I, like, forget, or, like, I'm not sure what things are gonna come in what time, so I say, like, oh, I don't really know what this is a lot when I have an idea, but this, I legitimately don't know what it is. I don't remember ordering anything from England. I think that's where Hampshire is. Because the U.S. has New Hampshire, so I'm sure that Hampshire is somewhere in Europe. Oh, geography's not my strong suit. But, Books and Chamomile, I'm not sure if she wants her name put out online, but she messaged me a little while back saying to be on the lookout because she got me something off my wish list, which is so cool. Thank you so much. I haven't ever had anyone other than like family members get me stuff off my wish list before. So it was really surprising to get the message, and it's just really cool. So I'm gonna open it and see what I got. That is a lot of bubble wrap. Oh, that is awesome. Look at that. I don't even know if you can see it very well because of how the camera is. Look at them! They're so good. Is this going to be an excuse for me to buy nice colored pencils? Maybe so. It's not that I don't have colored pencils, but the ones that I have, I used to use for like classes with children. So, this is so exciting. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah, that's a great way to start off my afternoon. And the morning started with like finishing some work stuff that I'd been putting off. So, overall, the beginning of May is going pretty well. Though maybe I shouldn't speak too soon. I do have work later. I do like work, but sometimes the general public can be questionable. Hopefully this is decent lighting. I know it's not like like the best angle possible because like this is my window. But this is probably the most ideal lighting since I don't have like a tripod that I can put anywhere. I have like a little ass tripod and I have to rig it up and it just doesn't work super well. So I'm gonna chill by this window and hope that you can't see the mess in the background other than what's on my bookshelves. So I didn't end up writing the past couple of nights. I don't really have any excuse, I just didn't. But I'm gonna go through and see how many poems I did end up writing throughout the month of April. Because I did pretty well towards the beginning, even though I kind of lost steam a little bit at the end there. But there were some days that I wrote multiple poems. So it looks like for the month of April, I've written about 35 poems, starting from the beginning of my blogs about 40. Although some of them were longer than others. I had a couple that were like one stanza, and then a lot that were like a few pages. Granted, the pages are like small and very messy. So that's my wrap up for writing. Okay, so this is a terrible angle. I'm so sorry. I guess this is gonna do. Okay, so for this whole vlogging experience, which has been like maybe 5 weeks, I've read 8 poetry collections and 1 book on poetry, plus starting 1 anthology and 1 other book by a poet, Audre Lorde's Sister Outsider. But so far, stuff that I finished, that's what it looks like for National Poetry Month. It looks more like this, plus the beginning of 2 trunk yearbooks. To briefly go over, although I'm about to film a wrap up, so you'll see that first. But for the sake of this vlog, I am gonna do a small wrap up of the sequence of vlogs that I started, I guess. Although I would like to do this more. I love the idea of having like maybe like a weekend poetry vlog or something, and then maybe my vlogs won't be like 45 minutes long. Or I'll at least get to add like neat footage and not just me talking. But in order of what I read, we had Decolonial Love Poem by Natalie Diaz, which I think I gave 4.5 stars. Black Movie by Denez Smith, which was 5 stars. How Poetry Can Change Your Heart was about poetry and was a reread, and I loved it still. The Madness Face by Andrea Gibson, 5 stars. Love to see Andrea Gibson. Langston Hughes, I think I gave this 3.5 stars. It didn't wow me in like the like guttural emotional way of some of the others, but I did really appreciate it. Then we've got Burning Sugar, which I think I gave 5 stars. I'd be surprised if I didn't. Even This Page is White by Vivek Sharaya, which should have also been 5 stars. Disintegrate, Dissociate, another 5 stars. And Aphrodite Made Me Do It, 4 stars. So this was an incredible reading experience. And it was accidentally all queer. I did not plan for that to happen. But only 3 of these books are written by cisgender people, as far as I know. And none of them were written by straight people. So we love to see that. Love some gay poetry. So I guess to close this out, I will read the last poem that I wrote. I'm not really sure how particularly good it is, but the same thing can be said about all of my poems. So, I'm trying to find my feet on the ground. Learning to fill my lungs, to feel my own body. I'm not a ghost, fading into the closest memory. I am supposed to stand on my own. But I'm teetering on training wheels, taking care of this vessel, forgetting, failing sometimes, convincing myself that I'm determined to learn how to keep from fading. That is what I've got. So let me know in the comments how your National Poetry Month went. I won't be doing like tons and tons of other weekly vlogs based around poetry like this because this was kind of just for the month. But I will have the vlog with kind of like the secret TBR up eventually. I still have 2.5 more books to read for it, so I'm not going to say what date it will probably be out because I will probably be wrong again. And other than that, I'm thinking about vlogging some of the shorter readathons that I'm going to be a part of, depending on how much I read for them. For instance, the Springathon, I've got a couple of books that I want to read for that. So that might come eventually. And I like the idea of doing some reading vlogs and some stuff surrounding poetry. Maybe gradually getting more back into it. Because this month of attempting to write every single day was a little intense. But I definitely think that it's shown me that taking my time to read poetry is definitely worthwhile. But that's all I've got. So thank you all so much for watching. Bye.